We're Bonesians, we don't joke about floods anymore. But, so if you're new to Legion, well, we've got emergency exits over there, over there, over there, washrooms over there and over there. And in the event of an emergency, your seat can be used as a personal flotation device. I'm Will, I'm going to be your MC tonight, ladies and gentlemen. There goes Darren. Infrared is going to be your band playing tonight. I'll introduce those guys later on. I see a couple of our executives are here. I see Miss Mabel back there. I see Mr. Fricklin back there. And, well, myself. Other than that, oh, Mr. Cole, how are you, sir?
Not me, her.
Yes, Margaret, there she is. And Miss Sherry, too, I know you're out there. Anyway, geez, I don't even know where to begin. I feel like a mosquito in a nudist colony here. Yes, ma'am?
Tell them about the pictures in the...
Oh yes. There's a little photo section set up in the back there. There's some novelty glasses and some hats and some weird stuff that you can throw on and take pictures of your New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
It's should be wonderful, eh?
Yes.
The end of 1990, what year is it? The end of 2019 coming around here.
Wow. Darren, I told you should let him drink before you did it.
I can't wait to see, what the hell does that say? Oh, I can't wait to see 2020, that's right. I haven't seen 2020 in years. Wow.
He's even got props. I'm impressed.
So, this past summer, back when I had a girlfriend, don't have one anymore in case you're wondering, but you'll find out why as I keep telling stories. Back last summer, I was mowing the lawn and the old lady, she was weed whacking. And she was going around the edges of the bushes there, and all of a sudden I just hear this, "Meow!" Uh-oh. Well, she weed whacked the tail right off the cat. Well, she drops the weed whacker, she grabs the tail, she grabs the cat, she comes running up to me, she says, Will, we gotta go to Walmart. I said, why the hell would we have to go to Walmart? She said, well, they're the biggest retailer in the world. See? Now that makes me laugh. Oh yeah, I got some bad ones. So I was talking to my grandfather, God rest his soul, about technology. My grandfather says, Will, your generation relies too much on technology. Well, I argued with him for half an hour. I said, no, Gramps, your generation relies on too much technology. So this went back and forth for about a half an hour. Then I unplugged his life support.
That's me.
That's a good one. That's a good one. I like that.
So I don't know if you heard about the two antennas that got married. The wedding wasn't spectacular, but the reception was great.
I like that.
Two antennas got married. The wedding wasn't spectacular.
So, little Johnny, I apologize, Ruthie, I gotta throw a couple of these in there. Little Johnny, he walks by his mom's bedroom. His mom's been single for a while. And she's laying on the bed and she's rubbing herself and she's yelling, oh, I need a man, I need a man. And well, he goes by her bedroom every day for a couple of months, and there she is. Oh, I need a man, I need a man. Well, sure as heck, he goes by her bedroom one time, and there's a man in there with her. So little Johnny immediately goes off to his bedroom, starts rubbing himself, and he's, I need a bicycle, I need a bicycle.
Shorts.
So, fathers, they have Father's Day. Mothers, they have Mother's Day. Couples, they have Valentine's Day. You know what us singles men have? Palm Sunday. So back when I did have a girlfriend, I came home one day and I said to her, I said, what would you do if I won the lotto? She said, well, I'd take half and I'd leave you. I said, well, I won 12 bucks, here's $6, see you later. Last summer I decided to do a little nude sunbathing. And I sunburned my little winky. And so at the time I was dating a blonde. But I went to the doctor and the doctor said, well, you know, just soak it in some milk and it'll calm down. So there I am in the kitchen, soaking my winky in a bowl of milk. And my blonde girlfriend comes home and looks at me and goes, I always wondered how you reloaded those things.
Boy, it's a good thing I cut up all the tomatoes.
So I've been paying for this damn alarm system in my house. $50 a month. And I'm like, there's got to be a way to save some money here. So I got thinking about it. I decided to cancel my alarm contract. And I put a flagpole out in the front yard. And I hung an ISIS flag. Well, now I've got the RCMP, the CSIS, the FBI, MI6, and NSA all watching my house. And I save $50 a month.
That's awesome. That was good. That's all good.
So, you'll notice I drink beer. I'm going to tell you why I drink beer. Because vodka and ice will give you kidney damage. Rum and ice will give you liver damage. Whiskey and ice will give you heart damage. Gin and ice will give you brain damage. That goddamn ice will kill you. No ice in my beer. So I bought a pair of shoes from a drug dealer the other day. I don't know what they're laced with, but I've been tripping all day. So I was telling you about my sunburn. Well, I decided I'd take Viagra for my sunburn. And it doesn't really help for the pain, but it keeps the sheets off my legs. Ruthie, have I gone too far yet? I know not to mess with the elderly because life imprisonment is not much of a deterrent. So again, I'm going to go back to when I had a girlfriend. She was in the pet store one day and she sees these 3 parrots. And one parrot, it's $170. Another parrot's $150. But there's this one parrot that's worth $10. So she asked the clerk, why is the parrot only $10? Clerk says, well, that particular parrot was raised in a whorehouse. Well, that made my girlfriend laugh, and so she bought the parrot, brought it home, took the cover off. The parrot looks around and goes, new whorehouse. Well, a little while longer, her daughters come home. Parrot looks over, 2 new girls. Well, a little while longer, I come home. Parrot looks over, well, you found a place. And I was single again. Any gardeners out there? Anybody garden?
Digging a hole right now.
You want more?
Yes.
Put your sweet lips a little closer to the microphone.
There you go.
You know the best part of gardening? You get down and dirty with your hose.
I'm going to go lock the tomatoes up.
So I woke up this morning and I went to put on my shirt. Button popped off. Went to grab my tool bag. Strap fell off. Went to open the door. Doorknob fell off. Went to get in my car. Handle fell off. I'm afraid to pee. I yelled into a colander this morning. Strained my voice. See, when I get you to groan, that makes me laugh. Oh, let's see here. So I was at the pub yesterday, and the 11 o'clock news came on. And, well, on the 11 o'clock news, they had this woman up on the bridge, and she's gonna jump. And there's a blonde sitting next to me. I said, I bet you $20 she jumps. The blonde takes the bet. Sure shit, she jumps. Just as the blonde's about to pay me, I said, no, I can't take your money. I saw it on the 6 o'clock news. She said, so did I, but I didn't think she'd do it again. Anybody here vote Trudeau? Nobody wants to admit to that, eh? So Justin Trudeau walks into the bank, and he forgot his ID, but he's got to cash a check. So the cashier looks at him and says, well, I don't care who you are. I can't cash a check unless you prove who you are. He said, well, I'm damn Prime Minister of Canada. So she said, well, if you can prove to me that you're Justin Trudeau, I'll cash your check. He said, well, how do I do that? She said, well, I'll give you an example. Mike Weir forgot his ID one day and came in with a check. And we required some proof, so he pulled out his putter. He putted all the way across the bank into a little tiny tin cup. We had no problem, we cashed his check. I'll give you another example. Wayne Gretzky came into the bar. Wayne Gretzky came into the bank the other day, didn't have his ID on him. We asked him to prove it. He pulled out a hockey stick, dropped a puck on the floor, right across the bank, into the garbage bin. It was amazing. So, can you prove to me that you're Justin Trudeau? So he says, honestly, my mind's blank. I have no idea. I really have no clue. Cashier looks at him and says, will that be large bills or small, sir? So, woman wakes up, middle of the night, notices her husband's not there. Looks around, she goes downstairs, there he is, he's sitting on the kitchen table, at the kitchen table. He's got a little tear coming down his eyes, he's staring off blankly. She says, honey, what's wrong? She says, you know, honey, 20 years ago today I met you. And she gets a little emotional because he remembered. And she says, you know, back then I was 18, you were 15, and we went in the back of your daddy's car, and your daddy, well, he caught us. I remember him putting that shotgun to my head and saying, you're going to marry my girl or I'll put you in prison for 20 years. And so she starts crying. She's crying with him because she's getting emotional over this. He remembers. And then he looks at her and says, yeah, well, I would have got out today. So since I've been single, I've had to rely on, well, a couple of the ladies of the night. And I've discovered the cheaper ones are in Forest Lawn. So I got me one of these $5 Forest Lawn hookers. Well, she gave me crabs. So I went back to complain, and she said, for $5, what do you expect, a lobster? So I was driving down the road the other day. I was going a little fast, and I saw the red and blues come on behind me. And so I pull over, and the cop comes up to me. He says, I'll tell you what, you give me an excuse I've never heard before, and I'll let you off for the morning. I said, officer, a couple of years back, my ex, she ran off with a Calgary police officer, and I saw your lights come on behind me, and I thought you were bringing her back. He looked at me and said, slow it down, have a nice day. So I'm going back to, again, when I had a girlfriend. I come home one day and went down, found myself on the couch, cracked a beer, took one drink, and well, there she started off on me. When are you gonna fix the porch? That goddamn step. I said to her, I said, honey, do I look like beaver lumber to you? That was enough, so I had another drink. Then she started on me about the light in the hallway. So I said, honey, do I look like General Electric to you? And I had another drink. Then she went off about the refrigerator handle on the damn fridge. I said, honey, Do I look like Frigidaire to you? And that's when I finished my beer, walked out, and went to the bar. Well, I had a couple at the bar, and I thought, well, feel a little guilty. So I head back home and come up the back porch. Damn, that step is fixed. Oh, look at that. I walk in, I turn on the light in the hallway. I'm like, look at that. Go open up the fridge. Son of a gun, the handle's fixed. I grab my beer and I walk in the living room and I said, dear, what happened here? She said, well, after you left, I was sitting on the porch and I was having me a good little cry. And this young fella come along and he said, ma'am, I could fix those problems for you for a cake or a blowjob. I said, well, what kind of cake did you make him? She looked at me and said, what do I look like, Betty Crocker? So I went to the cat house there, and well, it was closed this one day. There's a sign on it that says closed, beat it. See, I love it when I get you guys like that. So I'm not much of a farmer's market kind of a guy. I really don't go to them often, but I decided to go to the farmer's market the other day, and as I was pulling up, I see this little old lady, and she's got a bucket, a gallon of paint, 2 chickens, and a goose. Well, I'm like, I gotta help her out. She's struggling, right? So I'm like, man, may I give you a hand? She said, by all means. So I grabbed the bucket, the paint, the 2 chickens, and the goose, and I'm figuring I'm just walking her to her car. No, she lives about 5 blocks away. I'm like, oh joy. But she pointed where she lived, and I noticed that there was an alley along the way. I'm like, ma'am, we could just shortcut down this alley. She says, well, how do I know you're not going to hold me up against the wall, lift up my skirt, and have your way with me? I said, ma'am, I'm carrying a bucket, a gallon of paint, 2 chickens, and a goose. How would I possibly do that? She says, well, put the goose down, put the bucket on top, put the gallon of paint on the bucket. And she looks at me and says, I'll hold the chickens. Been going to the farmer's market ever since. I discovered that my dog and my phone have similarities. They both have caller ID. Come on, I'm trying to get those groaners out of you. These days, with the price of a phone, I slipped on the ice the other day and I heard this crack and I'm like, oh, please let it be a bone. I went to the doctor's the other day. Doctor says to me, you got to stop masturbating. I said, why is that? He says, I'm trying to examine you. So I was there for my prostate exam, and so the doctor, he does his thing and he walks out of the room and the nurse walks in and she says the 3 words no man wants to hear. Who is that? I don't know if anybody's seen this guy with a blue beard running around here. He's the bassist up here. This guy, his name's Jeff. Jeff, he's a little bit of a hunter. He got himself a new gun there last summer and decided he wanted to go bear hunting in Alaska. So he went up to Alaska and sure, he shoots himself a black bear. Well, he's all proud of himself. Then he gets a little tap on his shoulder. A big old brown bear behind him says, that's my brother. This can go one of 2 ways. We can have some rough sex, or I can maul you to death.
I knew this was a deliverance joke.
Well,
Really banned you for that?
Jeff's obviously, because he's here, for the rough sex. Well, it took him a couple of weeks to recover from that, but he vowed his vengeance.
Should have seen the bear.
And so he went back up north, up to Alaska, and he went after that brown bear, and sure as hell, he shot that brown bear. And he's all proud, he's got his vengeance. Well, he gets a little tap on his shoulder. And behind him's a grizzly bear. And the grizzly bear says to him, we can have some rough sex, or I can maul you to death. Well, he's here, so you know he had some rough sex with that grizzly bear. That's one that took him a couple of months to recover. And he's angry. So he went back up to Alaska, he's swearing revenge again. And there's that grizzly He pulls the trigger, bang, guts that grizzly. Then he feels a tap on his shoulder. It's the big polar bear. And the polar bear says, Jeff, you don't really come here for the hunting, do you? Baby Seal walks into the bar. Bartender says, what do you have? Baby Seal says, anything but a Canadian club. I love that sound. I went to the dentist the other day. He said, well, I got to give you some needles to dull the pain. I'm like, well, no, I'm not a big fan of needles. He said, well, I can give you some gas. I'm like, no, that'll suffocate me. He said, well, I can give you a pill. I'm like, all right, yeah, I can do a pill. So he gives me Viagra. And again, I'm like, I didn't know Viagra was good for pain. He said, it's not good for pain, but it'll give you something to hold on while I yank your tooth.
Oh, you got it. Oh, my God. The tomatoes are locked up. You're safe.
When I was a kid, my mom found my bondage gear and my fetish magazines. And I heard her say to my dad, what should I do? My dad says, I don't know, but I wouldn't spank him. So with the legalization of pot and everything, people are smoking weed all over the place. Well, if you masturbate while you're smoking weed, would you call that masturblazing, weed whacking, or hijacking?
Oh, very good.
So there's, I don't know if you guys know Rob Ward over here. He used to be a biker.
Yeah, right.
And the bikers are all going down for a rip down the highway, and they come across a bridge, and there's this young girl up on the edge of the bridge. And the RCMP, they're trying to talk her down. Then they're not having any luck. Well, Robbie, he gets off his bike. He walks on over to this girl, walks right by the RCMP. He said, ma'am, what you doing? Well, I'm going to commit suicide, she says. Well, Robbie, he says, well, before you jump, why don't you give old Robbie your best last kiss? So she leans over the rail, and she gives him this deep, long kiss, and right afterwards gives him another one. And Robbie's like, wow, that's a hell of a talent you have there. You really shouldn't waste that. He says to her, he's like, so why do you want to commit suicide? She says, because my parents don't like me dressing up like a girl. It's still unclear whether she jumped or was pushed.
Oh, Herb almost got a shower. Wow. I should have been drinking a beer.
Did it come out your nose?
No, I stopped it.
Well, I'm going to try my best. You know that, eh?
Still dry.
Any vegetarians out there?
I hope not, because all the appies were meat.
All right, well, I was up at the Cross Iron Mall there yesterday, and I went to A&W and I got myself my nice triple burger. And I sit down and I'm just about to eat it. And this woman, oh my, she was a bull dyke on the worst day. She had 3 different colors hair, but she had this plate full of salad. It was about that deep. And she sat down next to me, and she looks over at me at my nice triple burger, and she says, do you know how that animal died? I looked at her, and I looked at her big plate of salad. I said, yeah, you starved it to death. You know the difference between a woman on PMS and a terrorist? You can negotiate with a terrorist.
I do too.
So pretty much everybody has a smartphone these days, right? Well, my buddy he says to me, he's got a little piece of tape over top of his camera on his smartphone. He said, well, what do you got that there for? He said, well, I don't want the NSA listening in on my conversations. Well, I laughed, he laughed, the phone laughed.
They're listening.
Oh, gee, I got so much stuff here, I don't even know where to go. I could, no, I'm not going to go there. I think it's too early for that one. So Kevin here. Yeah, it's time to hit Kevin here. Kevin here had to go to the doctor the other day.
Why couldn't you hit Kevin before Robbie?
Well, I'm going to hit everybody eventually. If I haven't offended you by the end of the night, I'm not trying hard enough. Anyway, Kevin here, he had to go to the doctor. He had 6 plastic horses stuck in his behind. And the doctor said his condition was stable.
And affected the cooking in no way.
You know what you call a cow that's had an abortion? Decaffeinated.
You will?
Yes, ma'am? 2 minutes. Oh, well, geez, I guess I'm not going to tell that one. Oh, I'd like to tell that one. Ooh, that one I'd probably get beat up for. Oh, my. So my boss has a particularly good-looking daughter. And I called him up one morning. I said, boss, you know the difference between work and your daughter? He said, no. I said, I'm not coming into work this morning. So I tend to be a yard sailor during the summertime. And my buddy, he found himself a hell of a deal. He got this magic mirror. Have you heard this before? So anyway, he buys himself this magic mirror, and he takes it home and he mounts it on the bathroom door. And he tells his wife, look, honey, I bought a magic mirror. Well, his wife decides to give it a try. Steps up to the mirror, says, mirror, mirror on the door, make my breasts a 44. Poof. Boom, double D's, like, yum, yum. So the man, my buddy, he's like, well, I guess I'm going to try this too. So he steps up in front of the mirror, he says, mirror, mirror on the door, make my penis touch the floor. Poof, his legs disappeared. I come from a small town. I don't know if anybody's even heard of Oromocto, New Brunswick. Otherwise known as CFB Gagetown, but that's the military side. The town side is pretty small. We had driver's ed and sex ed in the same car. I don't know if I should go with another. Okay. So they had the Bow River breaststroke race this summer. And there was a blonde, a brunette, and a redhead, of course, because there always is. So the race starts. Well, the brunette, she comes in first place, less than an hour. The redhead, she comes in about 6th place, about an hour and a half. But nobody's seen the blonde. Well, everybody's wrapping up the party, they're cleaning up. 3 hours later, there comes the blonde. And she gets out of the water and she's all upset. She said, those women cheated. They used their arms. All right, I might as well throw this one out. It can't hurt. So, woman has twins, and she decides that, well, she can't raise them, so she decides to put them up for adoptions. So the one, he goes to Egypt, and his new parents name him Amal. The other one goes to Spain, and his new parents named him Juan. Well, a few years pass, And Juan sends Mommy a picture. He's 18 years old now. He's getting married. Well, she tells her husband. She says, Juan sent me this picture. Look, look, look. She says, I sure wish I had a picture of them all. Well, you know what her husband said? Once you seen one, you seen them all.
Tell us the other one.
It was, so I actually had to work today. I asked the boss if I could leave early. He said I'd have to make up the time. I said it's 117 minutes past 34. Oh, I guess that one is a waiter. So, little Johnny, sorry Ruthie, little Johnny walks in on his parents. You know what they're doing. Mommy's on top. And he asks, he says, what you guys doing? So his mother says, well, Daddy's belly gets a little big, and so I'm jumping on it to flatten it out. Little Johnny shakes his head and says, Mom, you're wasting your time. As soon as you go to work in the morning, the neighbor comes over and blows it back up.
I'm too glad I didn't have a beer in my head.
Anybody know anything about pharmacology, aka medicine? Got any nurses, doctors, anything like that? Well, they're pushing the generic drug on Albertans now. They don't want everybody getting the good drugs. So the generic form of Tylenol, of course, is acetaminophen. The generic form of Advil, of course, ibuprofen. Well, I got myself a little bit of that giant generic Viagra the other day. They call it my coxifloppin. So back when I had a girlfriend, we're in a nightclub one night, and we're sitting right on the edge of the dance floor. There's this guy, he's up there, he's break dancing, he's doing flips and somersaults. It's quite the show, actually. My girlfriend looks at me and says, you know, 5 years ago he asked me to marry him. I looked at her and said, yeah, look, he's still celebrating. And the fight started. Can you believe I'm still single? Wow. Okay.
People you don't even know.
So Dolly Parton and the Queen die on the same day. They go up to heaven, and there they are standing in front of St. Peter's Gate. And he says, well, I only got room for one of you. He says, why should I let you in? So Dolly Parton, she goes first. She opens up her shirt. Boom! Greatest set of tits St. Peter's ever seen. Oh, so he turns to the Queen and says, well, what have you got? She comes over, she pulls out a toilet, she gets on there, sits down, has a big old dump, and well, St. Peter's like, you're in, Your Majesty. Well, Dolly Parton's quite upset. Why the hell did she get in there? I got the greatest tits on earth. St. Peter looks at her and says, ma'am, I don't care how nice a pair it is, they can't beat a royal flush. Yeah, that was a poker joke for you, mister.
Hey, you got more than me here at poker players.
Two potatoes standing on a corner. Which one's the prostitute? The one that says Idaho.
Oh my God.
So,
Yeah, wrap it up.
wrap it up. Oh, I'm getting told to wrap it up. I think I can throw one more in there. I'm just looking around seeing who I can throw it at. So Dave used to be on the road a lot. And so he stops into the local cat house. And he goes up to the madam and he says, gives her $500 and he says, I want the ugliest woman in a bologna sandwich. She says, go ahead down to room number 3. Well, Dave goes down there. A little while later, he comes back out. The madam looks at him and says, sir, for $500, you could have had our best woman and surf and turf. He says, I wasn't horny, I was homesick.
That's mean. That's mean.
All right, I believe we have a flamenco dancer. And I don't have anything saying her name or... Okay, we're going to take a little short pause here. We're going to have a flamenco dancer. You never know, I might get back up here to see if I can get a couple more groaners out of you. But
Grown.
in the meantime, have a drink. Enjoy yourself. Rock and roll.